Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are a returning subby, welcome to another video. And if you are new here, hopefully you like my video, you like what you see, you press that subscribe button and you join the Yay gang, the Yay family. And I know I have not been here for a while. I am so sorry about that. Like, life has been really hectic, but yeah, I think I'll cover a lot of what's been happening in this video, throughout this video. So last time we spoke, I was a South African girl. I mean, I'm still a South African girl, but I just don't live there no more, you know. We have electricity 24/7 here. Okay. Anyway, sorry. But yes, as you can see by the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about like my move from South Africa to Los Angeles, California, and just like the whole thing of how I got here, what it was like, you know, prepping for the move, the actual move itself, when I got here, everything that I had to undergo. I literally even had to go on my Finsta, because I have a Finsta account, where I just complain to my friends or like tell them what's going on or whatever. And I actually had to go through my stories and just kind of refresh my mind, because there were so many things that happened to me after I got here that I couldn't remember them all. Like, it was just one challenge after another, after another, after another. But we'll get there. Anyways, so let's get into it. How I got the job here in LA is, so I worked at an audit firm in South Africa, which is a member firm of like kind of the global brand. So it was like kind of, if you think of it as in branches, it's not really like that, but if you think of it as branches, I would have been at the South African branch before. And then while I was there last year, because it was our final year of training, they asked us if any of us as the third years, the final year trainees, if we were interested in coming to the US. So initially, I think he had said Atlanta, the Atlanta office. But then as the interview processes like started going and I spoke to my interviewers, and then they told me that no, actually it's not just Atlanta, it's kind of anywhere, any office in the country. And then he asked me for my top 3 that I would like to go to. So in the interview processes, I think there were 2 interviews. Yeah, I think there were 2 interviews. There was round 1 and round 2, and then I got my offer. Yeah, so I gave them, after the first interview, my 3 choices, and LA was first. It is so weird because he didn't specify that I'm supposed to be listing them in terms of first preference, second, third, right? But I just felt like, you know what, let me put LA first, and then I got LA. So if I put somewhere else, I would have gotten that other place. Anyway, if I put somewhere else first, I mean, maybe I would have gotten that other place. But anyway, fortunately, I put LA first. Then I put Miami and Atlanta, but I'm not sure like the order on those. Yeah, I was like, I want a major city. I'm not a small city girl. Sorry, that ain't for me. Yeah, so those are my 3 choices. Then I got LA. In the first interview, they did say, oh, LA, you know, I don't know if you're gonna get that though, because like it fills up quickly. Obviously, it's Los Angeles, Hollywood, baby, you know, so it makes sense. I was like, okay, kind of get that. But then fortunately, there was some space for me, so here I am. Yeah, so from there, there's like a whole process of like getting your visa, and there's petitions and other stuff, but they had like legal people to handle all of that. I just had to make sure on my side that I book my visa appointment, I go to the appointment, and I also had to buy my own flight tickets. So with those 3 things, I had to pay $190 to book the visa appointment, which was roughly like 3.6 in rands. Then I booked the appointment for early January. Early Jan, I had my appointment. When you go to the appointment, depending on the type of visa that you are applying for, then you may need to pay money over when you go to the consulate. So the reason why I had to pay like these things myself, they did reimburse me like once I got to the side, and then I set up my US account, so they reimbursed. But I had to pay all those costs myself like up front, because they were like, we can't pay for you, like especially at the consulate, you can't even bring your phone. You know what I mean? It's pretty hectic. So they were like, we can't help you, sister, but we can reimburse you. And that's fine. But it was a bit stressful, I won't lie, because I was like, the flight especially was like yeah, it was expensive. But anyway, it was around like 12,000 rand. Yeah. But anyway, so I went to my visa appointment in early Jan, and when you go there, like I said, like you have to leave all your stuff behind, like your phone and everything. But eventually I had my interview at the consulate, and I had to pay there $500. But that's for the specific type of visa that I got, which was an L1 visa. Or was it No, I think it was L1 visa, which is intercompany transfer. Because like I said, I was at the South African version, and now I'm at the US version of it. So it's like same company. It was like an intercompany transfer. So that's the visa that I got. And for that, we have to pay like $500 anti-fraud fee something, right? So that $500, that was roughly 8.6, I think 8,600 rand, if I remember clearly. So that was that, and then obviously the 12K. So if you're just thinking about like the upfront costs, there's that at like a minimum. And also, like, if your luggage is over, you need to consider all those things, yeah, in addition to those costs. But anyway, those are the minimum costs that you will probably incur if you are moving over. But like I said, the $500 one might change depending on the type of visa that you have. So like I said, there were things that GT was handling on their side, like petitions and a whole bunch of, yay, Brad, like, I'm sorry, if you wanted info on that, I can't get into it. I'm sorry. I can't go because I just don't know. There was just so much happening, and the information that I got was, I was like, yes, like it, you know, because it's like a process. It's like a whole thing. I don't know if it's like this when you move to, because I know a lot of accountants or qualified CAs go to the UK. I know a lot go to the UK. There's very few that come to the US. So I don't know if the process for them was also hectic, but for some reason, I don't think so. And like going into like the whole visa interview, the company had like a call. So they had people, you know, like an immigration team that help us through all these things, which is really cool because like I said, there's a lot going on and so much to understand, and like different steps of these processes. And so they had a meeting for us to like prepare us for the visa interview, and they kind of give us like pointers of how to structure your answers and things like that. And yeah, so that prep had me kind of stressed because I was like, oh, this interview is gonna be, oh, I was like scared, like you know a job interview kind of thing where you're like nervous. It was like that. But when I got there, the interview was so quick. He asked me like 3 questions, and then he was like, cool, stamped that MF, gave me my slip to say approved. And I was like, oh wait. So yeah, then obviously visa approved. I'm like, okay, prep, you know, for moving, because you know I had to decide what I was gonna do with my car, and the renter. So it wasn't really even a problem. And also like my rental lease came to an end exactly like at the time I was about to leave. I was like, perfecto, canceling all my ish. And then my biggest stressor, I will say, was like packing bags, because I was like, you're only allowed 2 suitcases, like 20 kg, 30, 20 or 30, I think it's 30. 230 kg, and then one carry on, or 245. Ankumbuli, oh, so this is what happens when you shoot a video so long after you've moved. I'm dragging myself. Okay, but yes, it was, I think 45. I think it was 45. Two of those. But that 45 gets chowed up very quickly, because remember, when you're moving to a whole other country, it's not like you're packing to go home for December holidays. It's a whole, I have to have all my clothes. I'm packing like my hair dryers and my straighteners and all my wigs and all my shoes, and my work clothes have to come with me, because I can't get here and start a whole new wardrobe. With what money? There's so many startup costs. You know, I was like, I can't be doing that to myself. So yeah, it was a lot. But I made it with all my things. I definitely had to like stuff my things in there, sit on the suitcase type of vibes. But it worked out, and my luggage was slightly over, so that's why I say it like at a minimum it'll be those costs, but most likely, because you're moving, bruh, you're moving your whole life. It's actually not realistic to expect me to put my whole life in 90 kgs. You know. But anyway, and it was actually so sweet, you know, the lady that was checking in my baggage, she saw that it was over, and then she was like, she asked me if I was moving, and I was like, yeah, I'm moving. She was like, where? I'm like, Los Angeles. And she's like, you know what, just good luck on your move. She waived that whole thing. She marked it paid without us paying. I was like, shout out, because it was like 1.3 extra that I would have had to pay, and at this point asna mali, because what had happened was I missed my initial flight to LA. And because I booked through a travel agency, at the time that, because they told me that like, Sivali, like, we can't let you through at this point. Sorry, girl. So I'm trying to, you know, change the date on my ticket, but I booked via a travel agent. I didn't book directly with them. So by the time the travel agent was back online, it was like, nah, we can't allow you to change dates, because the flight has now passed and you're just gonna forfeit the ticket. And I was like, sorry, what? So I had to forfeit the ticket, and my boyfriend had to buy me another ticket. Shout out to him, you know, that's my dog. Yeah, so he had to buy me another ticket. So that's what I'm saying. At that point, we was like, look, we done. We don't got no more money. We don't got no more money. And then I came over to LA. Oh my God. Okay. Festival. The first flight, because we had a layover in Doha, Qatar, right? So the first flight from Joburg to Doha was pretty chilled. It was long, but you know, I didn't really feel it. It was the flight from Doha to Los Angeles, because remember, Los Angeles is on the west coast. I was like, yo, get me out of this box. I was over it. Okay, it was a very long flight. Altogether, it comes to like roughly 24 hours. Like a full day on a flight. It's like 8 hours from here to Doha, and then 16 hours from Doha to LA. This is roughly gay. So a full day of traveling. So I was mad tired. I arrived here on the 1st of Feb, and now I don't have okay, let's get into it. Let me start laying out all the things that was stressing me. Let me start laying out. Point number one, I arrive here. I don't have a US SIM card. I just arrived. You know, I don't have a US SIM card. So at this point, I'm like, I'm just fucking hoping that there's a Wi-Fi. You know, fortunately, there was. I'm like, okay, cool. I can request. And also, thankfully, Investec, which is my bank, my South African bank account, works internationally. So I could order an Uber via Investec, even though it's paying in dollars. It was chilled. So I was like, okay, at least the paying aspect. Then because LAX is so huge, there's like different places. It's like if you want to catch an Uber, you go over there. There's even a bus that has to take you there. So now I'm like, oh goddamn, what if there's no Wi-Fi when I get there? Because I've requested now, but like I can't. I actually requested, and then on the app it said we're not gonna call nobody until you are near the pickup spots because it's that far. So I'm like, okay, I haven't really even requested at this point. I don't even have driver details where it's like, oh, it's fine. I don't mind if the connection is lost. I have the details. I don't have them. But fortunately, there was Wi-Fi also there when you get to the pickup spots, thankfully. Now there's also someone who helped me with my luggage. They helped me with my luggage and then they stand there on some, you not gonna tip me? I'm like, yo, I am so sorry. I just arrived. I don't got a single dollar on me. I am so sorry. Yo, but it was so awkward. It was so awkward. But I was like, okay, I deny you. Like, I don't have it. So what can I do? And he looked so annoyed. Anyways, eventually got my Uber. I made it to the hotel. I check in now. So now, remember I told y'all I had to pay all these things prior, right, to getting here. And then on top of that, I missed my flight and had to get another ticket. So like at this point, I have barely any money left. And I know that like, one, it's more expensive here. So that money that I have, besides the conversion and whatever, it's just more expensive here, period, right? So there's that. And I knew that I needed to like go do stuff. I needed to go open a bank account. I needed to go get my social security number, blah, blah, blah. So I need to Uber to these places because I don't know where they at. That's the little money I had left for those things. I get to the hotel. They're like, you need to put down a $200 charge, like a holding fee. Yeah, well, that will get paid back when you check out. I'm like, not my last 2 cents. Fine, I give them their $200. I check in. I mean, I know it's normal. I could have reasonably expected that, but like I just didn't think of it because the company is paying for the hotel. They're paying for meals and whatever. I thought I was just gonna arrive, But no, they wanted their 200. So now, I think the day after or 2 days after I checked in, they charged me again on my card. Now it's not $200, it's $206. It was like an erroneous charge. I'm like, there's no way. Because after they took the first $200, I borrowed money from my friends, right? So Avu gave me some money, Keith gave me some money, right? Avu and Keith, both, they gave me money. So I'm like, okay, cool. I have some money now. I'm going to pay them back when I get my money from the company, like my relocation allowance and my reimbursements for the visa and the application fee and the whatever. All those things get paid back to me. I'll pay them back. So they borrowed me the money. Right after that money reflects, they charged me again, this erroneous charge. So now I'm like, ain't no fucking way. So I go down to the reception. They're like, no, whatever. They explained that it was an error. I reversed it. It should reflect back within 2 to 3 days. So now I'm irritated. 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days. I only have 2 weeks in the hotel, mind you. In that 2 weeks, I need to get my social security number, open my bank account, get my monies transferred to me, and then like do apartment hunting and all of that. Have an apartment ready so that by the time the 2 weeks lapses, I can move in, right? I'm like, okay, fine, 2 to 3 days. So now I'm irritated because I'm just like, why is it going to take that long though? But it's fine. Anyway, so they reversed. I'm waiting. Hey, boy, 2 to 3 days passes. 4 days passes. I go down to reception again. Then they're like, oh, that shit wasn't reversed. It was not even reversed. And I was like, the person I spoke to A week passed before I got my money back. A week passed. So in the interim, with the little money that I had left, I had to go do my social security number, all of that, right? So first thing I had to do was my I-9 verification. So I-9, I think it's for if you work in the US, you know, and you're not a citizen, I'm assuming. I'm not entirely clear. I just knew that I had to do it. I'm not entirely clear, like what it's for, whatever. But the company was like, look, you need to do this before your first day, or within one day, yeah, of your first official start date, right? So I was like, okay, had to do that like expeditiously. It's kind of like to show your eligibility to work in the US. I'm not sure what goes around it, but most probably, I mean, they would look at like whether you qualified. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing here that a US citizen can't do? You know, maybe. Or like if you're a criminal, like where you from and stuff like that, you're obviously not gonna be eligible. Or I don't know, I'm assuming these things, but yeah. So I checked that. I had to do that. I went to go get my social security number. So with the social security thing, I went there the first time. I took an Uber. Now remember, I still don't have a US SIM card. I went to the social security office. So I had Wi-Fi most at the hotel, and so it's easy to request when you're going to the place. But when you're coming back from the place, that is the problem. So that for that first couple of weeks before I got a SIM card, I was living by faith and not by sight. I'll tell you that much. I had to live by faith and not by sight. I had to make sure before I leave, I have my Google Maps, like if I was walking somewhere. Because a lot of places, fortunately, like where I am in the financial district, a lot of places are quite nearby, so it was walkable. But I'd have to make sure, Bana, look, I know Google Maps, what's T, because at least the GPS will keep going even if I'm not connected. But now with the Social Security office, it was a little too far for me to walk, like 20 minutes-ish, like maybe just over 20 minutes walk. And I was like, I ain't doing that. So I went there and I was like, shit, what am I gonna do in terms of Ubering back? Because I kind of just always hope that there's Wi-Fi where I'm going, and then when I got there wasn't any, and I was like, okay, that's tough. And then they were like, oh, fortunately the guy that was helping me, he wanted the address of my employer, and so I gave the address, but there's like a suite number, suite Ndondoni, and I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just know it's the 31st floor, like, but it was actually suite through 3100, so it corresponded to the floor. But anyway, he was like, let me just hotspot you and then you can look it up. So he hotspotted me, then he forgot to take off the hotspot, and then that's how I was able to request an Uber back. My phone stopped recording at some point, so I'm so defeated. But I'm so sorry if like you notice any difference in like the lighting and stuff, because I was using the natural lights, but the sun's going down now. Or if the positioning is slightly different, I'm so sorry. But I'll just pick up at the end of wait, stop recording, I guess. Which was at the SSN situation. So yeah, so as I said, I used his hotspot to get back, and he had said to me that because like the social security number is like high risk and all of that in terms of like your security, that they can't like text it to me or email it to me. I'll have to come back the next day to get it. So at this point I'm like, okay, fine, I guess, like I'll do what I gotta do. And meanwhile, mind you, this whole time, remember at the same time we've started working, and I have trainings. The first week was training, and I had training to attend and do, and I'm falling behind on work because I'm like running up and down trying to find a bank that will let me open an account and do the SSN, do my I-9 verification, look for apartments, etc. Obviously, I can do these things only during the day, which is the same time that I would be working, because that's when those things are open. So it was what it was, but I was very stressed because like I was like falling behind on the work that I needed to do and the trainings that I needed to do. And it's like, okay, but then that next week we're getting straight into like the crux of the work, and I need to make sure I've trained, like I've done my trainings first. So I definitely had to like put in like extra time in the evenings and over the weekend to kind of catch up. So that was very stressful. Like I was just going through a lot in that sense. But yeah, so as I'm trying to sort out also the admin in my life, I went back to the Social Security office, and this is where I had like my first mental breakdown. First thing the guy I spoke to was like, you're not gonna be able to get your social security number until you get the actual card. And I was like, what you mean? Like I done came all the way here, and now mind you, remember I said, man, I didn't have much money at this time. So it's like a matter of, what do you actually need right now? So I just wasted my money Ubering here for you to tell me that I can't get my number. And it didn't even make sense at that point, because it's like, what's the security threat here? You're giving me my number. You get what I'm saying? I was like, no, I'm not going anywhere without this number. So he got up and went to speak to his manager. That was like the first time I had like my first mental breakdown, where, because I had been holding in all the stress, like there's just so much going on. And that's the first time I was like, I definitely shed a tear. I was like, there's no way. And then I had to like quickly wipe, because I'm like, this man's gonna be like, the fuck, because he's not gonna understand like the whole backstory of everything that's been happening to that point. So yeah, he went to speak to his manager. His manager was like, no, it's fine, you can give it to her. So I got it, because at that point I was like, nah, where's that guy I spoke to yesterday? He must come here and explain to me why he told me to come back if y'all not gonna give me this number, you know? But fortunately, it didn't come to that. And then there was the whole mission of trying to open a bank account as well. So with this whole thing, it was kind of like cyclical. I kept having like problems with opening a bank account, because they wanted like a proof of residence. Of which it was a cycle, in the sense that I can't get an apartment without my money, but I can't get my money without the bank account, but I can't get the bank account without the proof of residence. So it was kind of like, the hell I'm gonna do? So I had to like look around for the banks that would allow you to open, and a lot of the people that like I moved over with from the company, the South African version to the US version, my colleagues that moved here with me, they said they opened with Bank of America, but I was the only one who came to LA. So it was like a matter of, they should, but we don't know that they will, because I went to the first branch. That guy was like, sorry, I can't help you. And I'm explaining to him, but no, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, I don't know what's happening in them states, child. What I'm telling you is that you're not going to be able to do that here. And I was like, there's no way. So I was like, you know what? Let me not give up. I tried the second branch, same thing. So that at this point, I'm like, hi, there's no way. So I hit up my relocation partner, and then she's like, oh my gosh, let me find out from the other people who moved to LA. But they weren't from the South Africa one. They were from like Philippines and other areas, but they moved to LA. So she was like, let me find out from them which specific branch they went to open the account. And then she told me the specific branch that I should go to. I went there, and thankfully they helped me out and they opened the bank account. I was like, whew, one less problem. And now at this point, like when I got the card, I wanted so badly to go back to those other branches and be like, yeah, I got it. Like, now what? Now what you gonna do? Because they were like, and I was like, it's not that deep. I'll just put the officer's like address. Like, why are you being like this? It was so unnecessary, Shem. I'm not even gonna lie, because it actually has zero impact on what happened. Because when I got my apartment, I just went on my profile and I changed the address. Like, not that serious. But anyway, yeah, it is what it is. And then yeah, so open the account. So now I'm like, okay, account is open. I emailed my relocation partner immediately, like, hey yo, account is open. I input my details on the system. Give me my money, run me my check. Run me my check. The money would then take like 3 days from there to reflect. So it was like that whole thing. But in that 3 days, I was just like finding places to stay because I had already like extended my stay at the hotel at this point, because I was supposed to stay for 2 weeks, but because, like, as I said, everything I was doing was a challenge. Every single thing that I was doing was a challenge, so it was so hard for me to like get to the next step of everything and be able to like be ready to move out when I was supposed to move out. So I had to like email the company and be like, hey yo, this is what's up, and they were like, oh my god, like the fuck, like that's really happening to you, like we're so sorry about that, extend up please, like that ain't a problem. And then they extended for me. Yeah, I also forgot to mention, actually I don't even know if I forgot to mention because it stopped recording at some point, so now I don't know what I haven't said. But I think I haven't mentioned yet the that the company, because they have like an immigration, you know, thing that I mentioned earlier. They help out that team, and then they have a separate team that kind of helps you with the move itself, like getting an apartment, getting acquainted with the place. So they allocate me like a relocation partner, and she's the one that gives me my allowances and all of that stuff, and I put through like my claims, my expenses to her, and then she'll pay them through, so like the visa, the flight tickets, etc., and all the Uber costs, they also reimburse for that. So all the Uber fares, like going to Social Security or going to Bank of America, but I didn't really Uber to Bank of America because it's walking distance. But yeah, whatever I needed to do, like and I Ubered for, they refunded me for that, and then they also gave me a relocation assistant, and she's the one that helped me kind of like look for apartments. So I just kind of gave her like what I want, and she would give me a short list of apartments. We went for viewings together. So now all these things, and those are going on viewings and all of that. All these things are happening, mind you, during the work day. So in the back of my mind, I'm also stressed about work on top of everything else. But yeah, no, she pulled through for me, and she also like they also help you like kind of get to know the city. They give you like cool spots and like things to do. If you want to see this, do this, whatever, you know, they kind of just curate and they show you around. So she showed me around a little bit, but mostly we did apartment viewings. So in my apartment search, that's when like I came across this place, which is where I'm living now, and I really love it here. But like by the time I actually had the funds to like pay for, because when you apply for an apartment here, you have to pay like $40, $50, whatever, application fee, and then you also pay a deposit towards your deposit. Like if the deposit, let's say, is $500, then they'll be like, you must pay like $300 or $200 with your application, so that they take the listing down from the website. Literally, you're paying them for their time that they're spending on you, like doing background checks to see if, like, you know, you can afford the place and all of that stuff. But anyway, so by the time I had the money to pay all these things and to whatever, there was like very few listings around this area that were actually available. And so like I ended up here, and I don't want to say that in the sense of like I hate it here or something, because I actually really like it here, but it is very expensive. And I think that's probably why like it was one of the few places that were left. It's because it was one of the more expensive ones, because I did go on like maybe 5, 6, 7 viewings, and all the buildings that I went to had like similar amenities. There's a gym, there's a pool, there's a clubhouse, there's a rooftop area, you know, like similar amenities. So I kind of get that like the market would obviously take the cheaper ones first, because you're getting pretty much the same thing still. But yeah, I'm not unhappy with like ending up here. Sure, it's just kuturu. Kuturu, I will lie, definitely that. But yeah, so now I have like a couple days left. Things are closing in. I spent my last money on opening the bank account, because you also have to like deposit money into the bank account, and I didn't know how long I needed to keep it in there. So, but I was like, you know what, let me just not touch that money for now. And then when I applied when I applied for this particular apartment, I was kind of expecting that they would like require a higher deposit, because that's kind of what was the experience in all the viewings that I went to. They were like, yeah, so since you just got to the country, you don't have a credit history, that's going to be a problem. You're probably going to have to pay like a higher deposit. And the higher deposit was normally like a month's rent, or a month's rent plus the normal deposit amount, which is around $500. Yeah, well, which it would have been fine. I was like, easy. But then when I came here, they were like, no, we want 2 months rent. 2 months rent. And then on top of the 2 months rent, I had to pay the actual rent. Do you get what I'm saying? Because the 2 months rent is just the deposit. And then I had to pay the actual rent amount for the remainder of that month. So when I put that money all together, yeah, I was a bit short. I was like $526 short. I remember very clearly, $526 and like 14 cents or something short. And so now I'm stressed again because I'm like, fuck, like I said, the company's already extended my stay at the hotel. They're not going to do that again, and I already feel some type of way. Like, this is a luxury building, right? So it's like fancy. And I have this thing, like, maybe I'm projecting, okay? Maybe it's a me thing, but I feel like not all, but Americans have like a certain perception of Africa, right? And so now, by virtue of me being from Africa, I already feel like there's a certain something that's attached to that. And I don't want to come across as like, girl, you can't even afford this. Like, why you even, do you get what I'm saying? So now I'm like frustrated because, like, yeah, short and I know what I'm going to do. And I've already borrowed money from like pretty much all my friends, Didn't outstanding debts left, right, and center, waiting for my relocation allowances and stuff to come in, and the whole allowance is gonna go to a deposit. I said, I'm tough. And then I was like, okay, let me borrow from my cousin some money. And one thing about a rich cousin, you got to keep one of those around you, okay? Because she keep that thing on her son, and she had that 10K immediately. I was like, don't worry, get 10,000 rands. Because I was actually thinking, who is going to have that kind of money? And then I thought of her, and fortunately she had it. And she like gave it to me. But when she paid the money, she forgot to make it immediate. So I was supposed to go pay my deposit, I think, that day to like secure my place here, and she forgot to make it immediate. So I was like, freaking hell. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, later ring. So I had to just tell them, I had to just be like, hey yo, this is what's up and this is what I have. Yeah, this is the money I have. Go shot like $526. Now mind you, I also want to clarify that the relocation allowance and stuff was a healthy amount. It was a good amount. This place is just expensive, I don't want y'all thinking that, oh, you moved to a company and they're not even taking care of you like that. They gave us like money, shame. It's just that, like, I think maybe for my colleagues that are not in the same state, because California in general is expensive, because I know of a colleague who is in the Dallas office and he was able to pay his deposits, pay his rent, and get furniture in his allowance. But because now my rent is, one, so high, and two, they made me pay 2 months worth of rent for a deposit alone. I was just like, I'm actually so unlucky. I was like, Lilisha, there's absolutely no way. But it's fine. And then it's fine. I've made it through, so I can talk about it without like feeling some type of way now. But yeah, then I spoke to them, sent them an email. I was like, this is what's up. She was like, you know what, it's fine, that ain't a problem. We'll actually just like, you can pay it, because I told her like my cousin sent the money but she forgot to make it immediate, so like I'll pay it in like a day or two when it reflects. But she was like, no, it's fine, you can actually just pay it when you pay like your next month's rent and include it there. And I was like, okay, so I moved in, I think it was Saturday the 18th of Feb. I know it was a Saturday though, I can't remember if it was the 18th exactly, but I think it was. I moved in on that day, and Yeah, so now now we have another problem to deal with because I arrived and like it's just me and my suitcases, yeah, bo. So I get into the apartment like, whew, okay, fine, finally. Now remember this, these whole, wow, all these struggles like that have been happening, trying to make sure that I have like a solid place to live. I make sure I have my I-9 verifications done because the company was like, within 1 day of working for us, that thing needs to be done because you can't work for us without it. Like, all the things that I had to do. And then I think the apartment thing was the biggest stressor, especially towards the end of it all, because one, I had already extended my stay at the hotel and I didn't want to piss off the company, and be like a problem. And two, like that whole cyclical thing and like the having to wait for the money and it was just all very frustrating. So when I got here, I was like, you're finally. Then it was like a thing of, but you don't have anything though. And literally when I got to this apartment was empty. Like I was sitting on the floor. Like I would sit on the floor and like look out on the balcony and stuff. Like I didn't have any TV to watch. I had nothing. I didn't even have a bed to lay my head on. I didn't even have a bed to lay my head on. But like luckily like the people here are very nice. The manager of the building was like, we have some stuff in storage, like yeah. So he borrowed me. I was like, no, it's fine. I just need a bed and a chair for like there's like a desk work area there. I was like, yeah, I just need a chair so that I can work because I work from home most of the time, and then I need a bed. So he borrowed me a bed and like shout out to him. Honestly, the people in this building have been so like they've been so nice, like top tier people, 10 out of 10. I cannot fault them. My only issue with this building is that it's expensive to live here, but at the same time you do get a lot out of that. We have like events every other day and like stuff like that. So I mean, you don't have to pay for gym because the gym is here and all of that. It's close to work, so I don't have to pay for transport. Yeah, so there's like pros and cons, but other than that, like this building, love it, and I love the people that work here. Yeah, so he was very nice and he did that for me, and I was like, shout out. But then I didn't have like I didn't have any bedding and stuff. And I don't know if like it's just awkward to say because I'm putting this on YouTube, but like I want to be transparent, Shem, because like it didn't go and yeah, it was a really tough time, and like it low-key makes me emo when I think about it because I mean it didn't last that long, fortunately, but like I didn't have bedding. I literally had to sleep on my bed and use like my clothes, like my big jackets, and I have a long coat that I would use like as ingubo. And also fortunately, like before I left South Africa, like at the airport, I bought like one of those airplane pillow things for your neck. So I was using that to like sleep on, and yeah. Sana. But it was very stressful, Shem, because I was like, yeah, bendinyamezele every day. Kubone when you just like uhlele ethembeni. That was me. That was literally me. And on the other hand, like I didn't want to like stress people at home. I mean, yeah, I shared with my friends a lot of like what I was going through and feeling, but like there was still like part of that was reserved for just me because I don't want people to worry too much about me. Yeah, boy. But yeah, those were like that was like not a nice period, Shem. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually just remembering how uncomfortable it was sleeping with that neck pillow and fucking jacket as ingubo. Yeah. Anyways, All my life I had to fight. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so my cousin had sent me money, remember? And then they waived that. They were like, no, it's fine. Ain't a problem. So when the money reflected a few days later, I was like, I bought a bed and some bedding. And I can't remember what else I bought. There was something else that I bought though. But like, I bought a bed and bedding and something else that I really needed. Like, you know, I had to literally start from like, what do I need? What is it that I need right now? What is it that I need now? In luxuries, we will see them. Second half. Sana. In LA, living like a para. I can't. And people were like, oh my gosh, show us content. We want to see LA. And I'm just like, you know, it's cute. Like, it comes from a good place, like on social media, that is. And like on WhatsApp, like my friends at family or whatever. We want to see LA, whatever. And I'm like, it comes from a good place because they didn't know the full extent, most of them, of what was happening. But child, I was going through way too much to be thinking about fucking sightseeing at that time, you know. But anyway, so when the money reflects, I finally got a bed at least, but still, like, the apartment was mad empty at this point. And then fortunately, we get paid 2 times a month. So remember, I moved in Feb 18. We would have gotten paid on the 15th of Feb because we get paid 15 and then month in, 15 month in, 15 month in, so twice a month. So that 15 Feb salary came via check. Now mind you, if they had not sent it via check and they paid it into my bank account, I wouldn't have shorted it in the first place. Do you realize that? And I could have bought a bed. Do you realize that? But they sent it via check because I think I missed the cutoff to upload my banking details on the thing. I uploaded them the same day that I opened my bank account, but I think I missed the cutoff by like a few hours. Yeah, and they had processed their payroll. This is on the 10th of Feb. So they need to process their payroll on the 10th for us to be paid on the 15th, if I'm not mistaken, because that's just how the financial system works here. It takes fucking days for money to arrive for whatever reason. Anyway, they sent it via mail. It took like, I think, 5 business days to arrive. Eventually it arrived. I went to the office to get my check, and then I went to Bank of America on my way home to deposit the check. I deposited the check, and then I deposited the check, and then Bank of America put a hold on it, and they were like, we're putting a hold on this check because your account is less than 30 days old. And I was like, what? So it took another week for the money to reflect. All my life I had to fight. Now mind you, this whole time I'm busy waiting for money that is rightfully mine, but I barely have food. Didn't bed in this whole apartment. So only thing I have, a bed. I got so sick at some point of sitting on the bed because I was like, I need somewhere else to sit. Like, I can't be in the bed 24. Like, yo. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about that. But yeah, I finally got my money, and then when I got my money, that's when I was like, okay, able to buy like pots and stuff for my apartment, because I was like, buying takeaways all the time is not a sustainable habit. So I had to buy pots and plates and just like start from the things that were like necessary, like necessary, you know, like like the small things that you barely think of. Like the small things that you don't, when you think of furnishing, you think, you know, a bed, a TV, a couch, a coffee table, you know what I mean? Those are but then the small things are the ones that get you. When you're like, wait, I don't even have a spatula to flip my egg, you know? It's the shit like that. But yeah, so I started like doing that. So since then, I've been every month, like, since then I've had to like put aside $1,000 plus just goes to furniture every single month. So that would have been what, March and April. Yeah, March and April. And then for my May 15th salary, I'm not gonna spend that much on furniture anymore. I'm basically done furnishing, which I'm very happy about. finally, because I'm actually khatful. I'm done. I'm ready to spend my money on me. All my life I had to fight, and it's actually time for me to enjoy. Not enjoyment, not enjoyment. That's the era I'm in right now. Yeah, so definitely the content will be coming now that like things have been hectic. And also I said I would mention the reason why it's taken me so long also to get back to YouTube. Even after I moved here, I happened to move in the middle of busy season, so I've been working overtime every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it just ended now at the end of April. So now that I have a bit more like time in terms of like work-life balance, it's not just work, it's work life, and done furnishing. 100% of my net income is gonna be mine. Okay, so yeah, definitely like the content is gonna come and all of that, and I will do another video, like a continuation kind of, or like a 2.0 part 2 whatever of this one, because there were like certain things that I think people had questions and things that they wanted me to discuss, like what were some culture shocks and stuff like that. So I will definitely do that in the next video. But hopefully you enjoyed this video and learning about like that whole journey, my move here, the stresses. If you do decide to move, because I know a lot of people were asking from a place of, oh, we want to come. If you do decide to move, hopefully this video will be helpful in terms of like, what to expect. I didn't know what to expect when I was coming in here, and a lot of this journey I've had to do by myself. I'm not like everything. Yeah. It still does make me emo, like everything that happened, especially once like the whole thing of like not having a bed and stuff, like sana, like that shit makes me low-key sad. And I know my mom's gonna watch this and she's gonna weep. but I'm still like grateful for the whole like journey and the whole experience. Some things were unnecessary, they didn't have to happen, but I'm still grateful for the whole experience. Like it's grown me as a person, and also like lets me know that like I'm good, I'm Gucci. Like one, I'm very much capable of getting through pretty much anything, and two, I have like a solid group of people around me, so I don't have to do everything alone. But yeah, hopefully it would like teach someone out there, Bana, if you want to come here, at least you know what to expect. Yeah, but anyway, look out for the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.